Yes, guys, back with
Like 6 months later.
Yes, guys, we're back. We're back. Cam and Don. So this is something new. Every Friday night, Friday evening, we'll be starting this podcast. This is episode 1. Beyond the Ropes, the Cam and Don podcast. So this is my good friend Don. Would you like to introduce yourself? You've been on the channel once before.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, you know, Don and Coco. Let's go, Don and Coco. Welcome to the. I've got multiple channels. Yeah, that's it. But this is focused mainly on boxing. So let's go. You know, let's talk about everything that's happened.
Introduce yourself. Do you want to quickly introduce the channels? What you do yourself?
I do everything, mate. You know that technology, anime, movies, gaming. I've got multiple channels. I'm sure you'll link them below later. But yeah, that's it really.
That's perfect. So guys, yeah, if you're into tech, if you're into anime, if you're into movies, any of them, Don's got his Don and Coco channel for each of them. But this is boxing, and Don is a big boxing fan. So let's go straight into it, guys.
Not as big as you, mate.
Not as big as me. You can see my posters, my Kronk t-shirt, but
more ways than one.
Say that again.
I said in more ways than one.
But yeah, first of all, Canelo Alvarez. So Canelo obviously just signed with the PBC a free fight deal.
Yeah.
That's big, man. That is big. The reason why, he was obviously with Eddie Hearn.
Go through the fights that will actually happen.
So obviously it's reported that he might fight, or more or less it's nailed on that he's going to fight in September against Jamal Charlo, right? So there's the Charlo twins. They're both twin brothers. His brother Jamel, so it's Jamel and Jamal. Canelo's going to probably face Jamal Charlo, but the issue is, so he's world champion at 160 with the WBC belt, but he hasn't fought for 2 years now. I think 2.5 years.
Yeah,
and that's the only reservation people have about this fight. Their worry is that it might not be competitive because Charlo's obviously coming off a 2.5 year layoff, but it's an interesting matchup. Look, I like it. A lot of the fans will be interested, and it's a fight that a lot of the fans have wanted. But I think the most important thing is the fact that Canelo signed this contract and joined the PBC, because at the PBC there's so many fighters for Canelo to face. Like us fans, we want him to fight David Benavidez, undefeated. There's Errol Spence, who's obviously going to fight Crawford, but he can move up in weight later down the line, and that will be a super fight. And then there's someone called David Morrell, so he's undefeated. I know you know a little bit about him. So there's just so many options for Canelo, and I don't even think, obviously, there's a lot of people on Twitter just taking a piss out of Eddie Hearn, and because obviously he's quite like a brash character, and they're just saying, "Oh yeah, Canelo left you," but it's not really like that. It's not. Yeah,
it's business.
It's business.
Yeah, it's business. It's not like Canelo's 21 or 22. He's like at the twilight of his career, right? Like he's coming to the end of his career, so it's cool in a way that he wants to go and fight the best still. A lot of fighters at his age, sometimes, Tyson Fury, not to name names, not to name drop people, but, he still wants to fight the best, right? He's not really running away from people in that instance. So you have to give him respect there. Irrespective of obviously all the cheating remarks he may have gotten in his younger days and stuff by doping and stuff, he still wants to fight the best, right? So respect him for that. Yeah,
100%. And you would think, look, in the last couple of fights, he slowed down, but this is just...
No, he hasn't.
I think we go for some easy fights now because he's been there, done it. He's fought Triple G. He's got one of the best resumes out there. But look, he's clearly...
He's still got power, man. Have you seen the power? It's still insane. And as you get older as a fighter, you learn from your experiences. You know when to move, how to move. You know how to dictate a fight. Your stamina's not quite the same level, but you know exactly when to turn it on and turn it off, right? As a fighter, 100%. Like you saw Mayweather as he got older, he almost became quicker because his head movement was so good. It was mastered. And that's what's happened with Canelo. He's still at the peak, you could arguably say, of his powers. And obviously with technology and all the pre-match fitness and everything, all the warming down and everything, he could still go for a few years. I think he still
That's the
has it in
thing.
him. Yeah.
That's the thing. But the only thing but the only difference with Canelo is he became pro at 15 years old. So that's the only thing.
Mm,
That's why a lot of people think he might be declining a bit because, and in the last couple of fights, it's kind of shown it's because
mm. It's been
he's
caught a bit.
obviously
Yeah.
been in so many wars.
Yeah.
But that's because he's had such a high standard. So how he's
Yeah.
performing right now still beats probably most of the fighters that he's probably going to face in the next year or so.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
good he
Yeah.
is. But yeah, like,
Yeah.
what do you make of him joining PBC? Obviously on a free fight deal. Yeah, I'll let you
Like I
talk
said,
about
I
it.
think it's brilliant, right? I mean, of course, people are probably like wondering you left Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn's like synonymous with boxing. He's got Anthony Joshua, but then I think Eddie Hearn, his value sort of dropped to some level as well, because
Yeah,
Anthony Joshua hasn't reached where he wanted Anthony Joshua to reach. It's almost like even Canelo's probably like, listen, you know, I'm offered all these fighters. I join them. I will get some of the biggest fights in the world. I haven't got much longer left in boxing, so why not do it? Good money, good fights, everything. It ticks all the boxes, right? So it makes
100%.
perfect sense. If I was in issues, I'll do it. I'll do the same thing.
That's the thing. And apparently it's a 100 million deal for 3 fights, which
Yeah, I
is
didn't even know that. Yeah, that's
$100 million. So I mean, he's not going to
yeah.
turn it down. But I think
No.
I don't know. One thing, let me know what you think as well. In the last few fights, since he became undisputed champion, which actually you came round for that fight. Do you remember when you came round?
Yeah.
That's the last time he's actually looked kind of motivated because
Yeah.
following that fight, he beat Bivol. Sorry, he lost to Bivol.
Yeah.
He moved up in weight and lost to Bivol.
Yeah.
Then he fought Triple G in last September, and
Yeah.
a lot of fans didn't think he looked that great. A lot of people expected him to beat Triple G because he was 40, so past it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he didn't. He actually got more tired. And then obviously he just fought John Ryder in Mexico, and he was getting hit quite a bit. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the Triple G fights is harder because if you with someone like Triple G, his standard will still be there, irrespective of his age. He will still have the technique. He may not have the power and the speed, but the technique will still be there, right? The
yeah,
boxing. Triple G has an amazing boxing IQ, right? So that's always
100%.
going to be there. You're not going to lose that as a boxer. Bloody hell, Mike Tyson. I mean, can you imagine us fighting Mike Tyson just because he's 60? His boxing IQ will still be well
Yeah,
above ours. We may have. I doubt we'd even have speed against him even now, but it's the
yeah. I
same with Triple
mean,
G, right? So it's a hard
the
fight to
only
judge.
the only thing about that fight though is obviously Canelo was.
Well, how old is Canelo now?
So I think he's. Let me check. I think he's 32 now,
32.
and then he was
Crazy.
like, obviously,
17 years of boxing.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, he was 31
Uh,
then against against Triple G, and Triple G was 40. So that's why a lot of people expected
uh,
Canelo to stop him.
just,
But obviously,
yeah,
look,
yeah.
Triple G's never been stopped. So
No,
but
his chin is insane,
give him
isn't it? Let's
his,
be honest. His chin is.
what I wanted to ask you is, what do you think about this? So I was on a Twitter space earlier, and they made some really good points. And you got to go on those Twitter spaces because it's like a whole different perspective you hear. So obviously a lot of those people in the
No, I should. I need to go.
from
Yeah.
America,
All right.
and they were one of the guys made a point about is Canelo declining, or is it actually the fact that he just hasn't been up for and motivated for these recent fights? Because a lot of these
Mm,
fights that he's potentially having, which with this new deal,
yeah.
there's like some rivalries there, and there's a lot of pressure there from the fans,
Yeah.
and these are high risk fights for him. There's a lot of bragging rights
Yeah.
on these fights.
Yeah.
So I think that's a key point and key factor to make. Look, last 3 fights he fought Dimitri Bivol, he
Yeah.
moved up in weight. He's already won
Yeah.
a belt at that weight. So
Yeah.
what was the motivation? Is not to become a 4-weight world champion because it already was. It's just a big challenge. And then he fought Triple G, who he's 40 and he's already beaten before. And then he just fought John Ryder, which was a homecoming. Obviously, it's not really maybe he wasn't that motivated because he's. But then with these fights, if he fights Jamal Charlo, okay, yes, he's coming off a 2.5-year layoff.
Yeah.
But there's rivalry there. If there's a bit of if his fans want this fight, fans will be calling this fight. If he fights David Benavidez at the moment he's being respectful, but it's Mexico v Mexico. It's
It's
the
big.
pride of
Yeah,
Mexico
yeah,
behind him.
yeah. That's true.
There's people saying that Canelo's been ducking him, scared of him. So of course because
He needs
Errol
to prove
Spencer,
himself. Yeah,
which is a super fight. Imagine
yeah. That's a
going
super,
up
super fight.
2 weights to fight Canelo in a
Yeah.
packed out stadium. So what do you think about that? Do you think that could be a point as well? Do you think Canelo's declined, or maybe is it just motivation recently?
I think it's a mixture, right? I mean, you can't argue, like you said, fighting since you're 15. In any sport, if you've done it from a young age, you know, you hit your miles, you hit your limit, right? But then, of course, motivation can affect that limit. So if you're not motivated in the morning to train as hard, maybe push yourself to that level, because you think for example, maybe in his head he thought Triple G's 40. Is he really going to beat me? Do I really have to push myself
That's what I
as
mean.
hard? People like Errol Spence and stuff. That's a different story. That's a different kettle of fish. These
100%.
guys, they want his blood. They want his blood. They want to beat a legend. As a kid, you want to beat the best, right? So it's like the Creed film, man. To be honest,
Yeah,
like Creed versus that guy. Like yeah, it's similar in some respects because he's the
100%.
experienced guy. He's the mainstay. So all these kids around him now in their 20s, they want to beat him because he's not old. He's not exactly 40. Arguably, he's still at his peak. So if you can take down a legend at his peak, you'll do it. So that's going to work
Yeah,
both ways, right? They're both going to be motivated for that fight. You might see the best of Canelo, to be honest, because of this deal.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
you
thinking.
know.
So I mean, yeah, look, it's interesting. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we get a confirmation
Because yeah, you're
for
right. You want to see the old Canelo, the powerhouse, that brute Canelo.
because that's the
But
thing. I think
yeah,
he's just lost a little bit of that killer instinct.
yeah, he's brutal, man. Honestly, like
One
he
hundred
would just
percent.
he would destroy people. But yeah, but Mayweather always talks back at Canelo. That's because he says,
Yeah,
"Oh,
but
he can never
obviously
beat me,"
there's a
and
bit of jealousy there.
yeah,
There's a bit of
yeah,
I think there's a bit of a bitterness. Obviously,
yeah.
Canelo's become such a star. He's having these pay per
But
view
but
fights.
but people will always say Mayweather ducked fighters at their peak as well. So Canelo hasn't done that, arguably. So
It's all perspective, isn't it?
uh,
There'll be fans who say he has at times picked and choose when he fights
yeah,
people, but at the end of the day, when you're the top dog like Mayweather, like Canelo, like
it's up to your agency. Yeah, yeah. It's
they
up to
they they
your
they they,
agency.
did, they call the shots. But
Yeah.
actually, before we move on to the next topic, which will be the heavyweight division, I want to ask you. Obviously, you watched the Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia fight, and
Yeah,
after
yeah.
Tank, obviously Tank's in prison right now, which is that's another topic for another day. But
Such a waste though
obviously,
with Tank though, because he's so talented as a boxer.
he just needs to
He's
stay. I
absolute.
mean,
He's got problems, but most boxers do have that. I mean, even Mike Tyson, he had problems as well upstairs. Like he did
it's the
things that were
upbringing, isn't
stupid.
it?
Yes, Tank reminds me of Tyson in some respect, like just being an idiot, not realizing where he is and what he can obtain, because maybe the people around him are all yes men. And Tyson had the same thing, yes men, right? And Tank, I know we don't talk about it too much, but Tank, his talent wise, I think he could be like one of the greats because he has got everything in his locker to do that. But yeah,
Yeah, but I totally agree with you, mate. I totally agree with you. I think I'm not sure how long he's in there for, but obviously, hopefully, he comes out
but
soon.
that could
And
ruin your career. Yeah, it could ruin your career.
yeah, I think he just needs to stay
Yeah,
out of trouble,
yeah,
like a lot of these fighters should. But my point was going to be after Tank Davis beat Ryan Garcia. Obviously, you saw that was a huge spectacle. He's already a great ticket seller in America.
mm.
A lot of people saying he's now the face of boxing. But then my question to you is: would you say he's the face of boxing? Okay, he's 28, he's into his prime, but I think Canelo, to me, he's just put his foot down and said, "Wait a minute, you're forgetting about me. I'm the
Yeah.
top."
He's only 3 years older, so you know
But I don't even think it's just that. It's the fact that people think
his
Canelo's
resume.
slowing
Yeah.
down.
Mm.
Who do you think the face of boxing is? Is it Tyson Fury? Is it AJ? Is it Canelo? Is it Tank
I
Davis?
think you know what? It's so obscure when it comes to boxing because you could talk to you or me or someone else and we'll all say a different name. Does that make sense? It's not like before where we had this unified champion from any division. Before you would have Tyson or you'd have Lennox Lewis or you'd have the Klitschko brothers. Yeah, but now But now, who do we actually have? Tyson Fury, he's just a ducker. Like this guy has got
We're gonna go
issues.
to that, mate. We're gonna go to that. You're gonna look
You
into
know what I
him.
mean? But AJ, unfortunately, he just never lived up to that potential that he had from the Olympics. Because AJ at the Olympics is a different fighter. You know, of course he is, but he's just never reached his true potential, I think. Usyk, I like Usyk, but let's be honest, Usyk is not really someone who screams, you know, the face of boxing and stuff, even though he's a
But then
lovely guy.
my question to you
But
is, who is your face of boxing? But before you answer that, how would you define the face of boxing? And I know how I
someone
define.
that, okay, so I would say someone, the moment you mention their name, they would bring everyone into the stadium on on
So
TV,
megastar, basically, right?
absolute megastar, someone that has to have knockout power. Because let's be honest, the regular fan, all he wants to see is someone get absolutely floored. He doesn't want to see tactical boxing. He doesn't want to see 12 rounds of, you know, maybe what we want to see, technique. He just wants to see someone go in, demolish someone, eat that person alive, maybe take off an ear, and just literally put that person on the floor, you know? But I don't know, man. Is there anyone even like that, really?
But
I
then that's
thought
what I'm
Joshua
trying to
would
say.
be that
Maybe
guy, but, you
who,
know,
who, who?
I thought Anthony Joshua was that guy, but he's not that guy, you
But
know?
then that's the
So,
thing. Look, Tank Davis, he's 28. He's 29 wins, 27 by knockout. Maybe you. So I don't blame people for saying he's the face of boxing now. He's young.
yeah.
He's just entering his prime. He's a star. He's got. Let's not be honest. I know he's in a bit of trouble outside the ring, but he's a cool guy. Look, he just came out with
No, yeah, he
comes
talked
out with
well, you know, yeah.
Chief Love Sosa. He comes out with
Yeah,
Lil Baby, Lil Durk, all these rappers.
yeah.
You know, he's the face of Box
He
Raw.
probably is in America, right? Because you think in America they probably love him, right? In the boxing community.
But then yeah, worldwide. But then for me, it has to
Mm,
be Canelo still.
yeah, it would have to be because Canelo's faced all the legends. You know, he's done his controversy like in terms of like doping and stuff. He's
Where
yeah,
do we
I think
start?
it still is Canelo. But then, do you think there's a step down from Mayweather when Mayweather and Pacquiao were fighting? You know, especially in their weight categories and stuff, they were they were the definition of peak boxing, right? Like I remember, like every single day, people talking about Mayweather, people talking about Pacquiao all the time. Would you say he's at that level, or
Canelo.
yeah?
Ooh, I say yeah,
Go on,
probably
we'll
similar.
just mute.
Probably similar. Yeah, I think. I think he was. That's what you've. Yeah, I do think he was he's at that level because look, he over his last few, every Canelo fight is a super fight. He sells out stadiums in America. He can sell out
Mm,
stadiums in in Mexico. He fights in T-Mobile Arena, MGM. You know, Madison Square Garden. He can sell out. So he always
true. Yeah.
he can hit big pay-per-view numbers. Everyone around the world knows him. He's everyone's payday. Everyone wants to calls him out, and at the end of the day, he's had those massive fights as well. He's had the Mayweather Pacquiao fight. He's had the Mayweather fight,
He has. Yeah.
and he brings in a crowd. And he's had the Triple G fights, which were both the first fight and the second fight were the biggest fights in boxing. So yeah, he is probably at that level. But I know what you mean. There's Canelo, but then the Mayweather and Pacquiao, it was a bit different.
Yeah.
That's
I
what
think it's their
everyone knew.
personality, right? Because you need to have that.
Yes,
It's not just about being the most, you know, because
they
all
were a
these
level
great
above, I
boxers,
think.
yeah, all these great boxers have. That's why even arguably Tyson Fury is still regarded as like he is great, right? Because his personality defines him. Like when him coming in a bloody Batman suit to fight Klitschko and getting in his head, like who the hell does that? You know, like even Ali, like going outside bloody Fraser's flat and threatening to kill him. You know what I mean? Like people
Yeah.
trying to. All these boxers are mad, but that's what attracts the audience. That's how you get the audience. You know, whereas Canelo, I think he just quietly goes about demolishing people. Whereas like those guys, they would make a huge scene because they know that not as a boxer you have to have every facet. You
But
can't
Pacquiao
just
wasn't
be,
as
you
such,
know.
was it? He wasn't really a trash talker.
No, he was a trash talker, but it's more of like the way he moved around. You know, the way he fought. He was like a warrior,
Yeah,
right? Like
knockout.
what he was doing in the Philippines, like basically helping people, giving his money out, buying houses, like helping poverty. That in itself is quite heroic. Yeah, so That's why people preferred Pacquiao over Mayweather, because they liked Pacquiao the person, whereas Mayweather was considered the I don't want to swear, but you know what I mean.
Like a villain.
Yeah, he was the villain, bro. Money Mayweather taking like cash and like cash money, and saying he's the guy and going to all these clubs and stuff. And
Well,
yeah,
this moves on nicely to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury could easily become the face of boxing if he just took the main fights. Because look, we've seen
yeah.
Tyson Fury can sell out stadiums like Wembley, 100,000 in Wembley. Not many. You have to be big to do that. Like AJ was a
Oh,
couple of years ago.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
He can
yeah,
sell out
yeah.
Wembley. He's fought. He's had the Wilder fights in Vegas. He's fought in. Yeah, he's fought in Vegas. So he's a star in America, but he's a star in the UK as well. So what's stopping Fury from maybe surpassing Canelo and Tank as that face of
He's just not
boxing?
fighting enough.
Yeah,
Just not
fighting.
fighting
Yeah,
enough. Yeah,
that's number one. Fighting enough, but fighting the top fights. Imagine.
yeah.
Let's just say, look,
Chisora.
it's almost the end of the year. Yeah, by now, let's just say he fought Usyk maybe once or twice, and he's fought AJ. He's cleared out the division, and those two fights are super fights. He
But
probably
but but Cameron, why doesn't he want to fight Usyk? Because like I can't even
you tell me.
see. I
Go
can't
on,
even see it.
I'm just
Like,
gonna sit back now and let you talk.
but
What do
bro,
you think?
seriously, the guy is 6 foot, what, 6'8", 6'9". Yeah, Usyk is 6'3", 6'4". Yeah, Usyk is a great technical boxer, and so is Fury. They both haven't really got knockout power, but Fury's got the weight and the height advantage. So if he
No,
did lamp him,
I
he
said
probably would.
Fury. Come on, give
I
Fury
think Fury could. I think
last
Fury could
one.
knock out Usyk. But
I
Usyk's
know
got
what
a
you
good
mean. He's
chin.
not the biggest of punchers, but I think
Mm,
you got to since he joined Sugar Hill after that Tyson after the first Wilder fight, he's been a different.
mm.
Last like 2 3 years, he's been a knockout puncher in my opinion.
Yeah,
He knocked
yeah,
out
yeah.
Wilder twice in a row.
That's true,
He
actually,
knocked out
hasn't he?
Dillian
Yeah.
White in front of 100,000 fans. But I
And
know
to
what
be
you
fair,
mean.
Wilder has got a good chin as well, so he done
Yeah,
well to knock him out.
that's the thing.
Yeah,
But I know what you mean. Naturally, he's not the biggest of punchers.
no.
Like
And
he's
we
not
know
like
Usyk has got
Usman
a good
Wilder.
chin. He's got great sort of like reading of a boxer and stuff, and
Who
his
Usyk?
movement, Usyk, yeah. So I think maybe Fury's just scared if it goes to points. And like I said, it's always hard for such a tall fighter to fight a shorter fighter, because even though the short fighter could struggle, the taller fighter will struggle as well, right? Because if Usyk gets in, he can get those body shots and stuff. But then Fury would just lean on him probably and do all the dirty stuff that he knows how to do. So
What are you
I
saying
don't
then?
know.
Is Tyson Fury scared of Usyk? Is that what you're saying?
Not scared, but maybe his agency, his team have said, stay away from Usyk or something. Maybe they've said, try to avoid that fight. Because it's weird, right? Like, why wouldn't he fight him? I mean, Wilder was the more scary fight because Wilder.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm getting confused. I don't really understand why he doesn't want. Is it money? But he himself said, I don't care about money. So
Well, he clearly
why?
does.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't get it. Like his last fight was in December against Chisora, which
Yeah.
he got ripped for. No one wanted to see that, but he hasn't fought this year. He was supposed to fight Usyk in April, but like that's the issue. Like at this rate, he might as well just wait until December and fight Usyk in Saudi.
Might as well get big payday and everything. But
Just fight for undisputed.
you know what, boxers, they have to fight, right? Like he's gonna you're fighting like basically technically the best fight in the division now, right? So how are you gonna fight that guy without having any fights? Like I understand that you believe in your talent, but it's gonna get to a point where your talent is gonna let you down, where the guy's worked harder than you. Because like AJ and bloody Ruiz and stuff, innit? Like honestly, no one thought that would happen. But in boxing, in heavyweight boxing, anyone can knock out anyone at any given time. That's just the nature of the division.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. He's let me down a little bit because he had the best story. The guy, he suffered from like drug addiction. He wanted to kill himself. He came back from all of that, destroyed people, did everything clean, sober, made sense when he spoke and stuff. And now he's just gone off the rail again. He's doing a Conor McGregor. Like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what he's doing.
That's the thing, and he's kind of he's become very annoying to a lot of fans. A
Yeah,
lot of fans are getting frustrated with him, and he keeps coming
yeah,
up with
yeah.
these videos on. And it's just like, what is he?
He
He's
keeps
not.
going after bloody True Geordie and stuff. Like, what are
But
you
then, what
doing?
about John Jones? Remember, he was talking
Yeah,
about
like, what
John
are you
Jones and
doing?
stuff.
Like, just, bro,
Forget John
they,
Jones
you know,
and
YouTubers
Ngannou.
and stuff, just leave them alone. You know, you're a boxer. They have the right to obviously ask these questions. If you work in media, you have the right to ask these questions. You're a sportsman.
So
So,
what do you
you
think
know,
he's gonna do? Is he gonna like what? It's almost July now.
yeah,
Yeah, it's almost July now. Do you think he'll have a fight before the December date? Which has to the thing is he has to. I don't
he has
think he
to.
has a choice. He has to fight Usyk. Oh, like who else? Unless he because AJ I think is gonna
No,
fight
he's
Wilder in
got
December.
Chisora, mate. He's going to go for him again.
No, because
Or
I think
Dylan
so.
White.
Let's just say hypothetically, all right, he's gonna fight Usyk in December, right?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Do you think he's going to have a fight first, or do you think he's just going to go straight into it? Because he keeps teasing us saying, "Oh, there's fight announcement soon." I don't even know who he's going to fight.
Maybe bloody, I don't know, KSI. Honestly, mate, I don't know who's he
I
going to
don't
fight.
know. Maybe
All that's left in the division is really Usyk. Like,
there's
there's no
talks
one
about
else.
Andy Ruiz, but apparently Ruiz might
No.
fight Wilder next
That
before.
would be a good fight. That would be a good fight. I would enjoy that fight. Because I feel like they're
Hundred
both kind of, like, you know, they're not top tier, but they're in that category where it could be an interesting fight, you know.
100%.
Um,
But I mean, yeah, I mean, there's not even much to talk about Fury other
but
than just be
yeah,
frustrated with him.
I think he's either got Usyk or he's going to pull out AJ, but that's the only one
I
really.
can't see it being AJ because AJ their plan is clearly to fight Wilder, and Wilder
Mm,
seems he's in Saudi Arabia. He's signed with
mm,
Skill Challenge, who have signed Usyk as well. So
mm.
because what they want to do, Saudis, they want to make a four-way kind of tournament. They want to
Oh,
stage
okay.
Fury v Usyk
Two big fights. Yeah.
and then Joshua v Wilder on the same night. And
Joshua
then
Wilder would be a
apparently they're
great
saying,
fight.
yeah, and they're saying the third fight on that card would be Chisora v Ngannou, Francis Ngannou. Yes. No, but that's what I think. It's in my head. I'm like, obviously the fans are saying, no, you're in dreamland. That's not realistic. But I don't
That
know.
could happen. I mean,
What do you think about AJ, man? Like,
I think
well,
AJ's done.
what do you think of that four-way thing? Do you think that's
That's quite cool. I
achievable?
think that's a good idea.
But
I
do you think
mean,
that can happen though? Is it realistic?
yeah, the Saudis got the money, so why can't they do it?
But
You
isn't there
know,
too many egos involved? Like, what
no.
channels are going to be on?
Bro, money can calm any ego. If you throw enough money at someone, they'll be like, okay, I'll do it. You know,
That's
like
what. Yeah,
look at
true.
Mayweather, bro. They threw how much money at him to fight bloody Logan
They'll
Paul, and he
probably
did
get
it.
like 50 to 100 mil each.
Yeah, come on, man. That's a huge payday.
They can do
Like,
that.
yeah, it's
Because
nothing
what?
for them. Bro. It's
Yeah.
nothing for
So.
them. You know, they'll make that money back as well. To be honest.
Mm, but moving on to Anthony Joshua. There's been a bit of talk. Obviously, Dylan White was on Talksport this morning. Have you
Mm.
seen that or you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't seen that. No,
So
no. What did he
basically, you
say?
know how Simon Jordan and that. So Dylan White was on Talksport this morning,
Uh,
and what the plan is AJ fights in August. He's got a date, August 12th. We're trying to get an
yeah,
opponent for him, probably at the
yeah,
O2 or maybe a stadium, most likely
yeah,
O2,
yeah,
getting ready for the Wilder fight in December. And obviously, the main fight that seems likely is the Dylan White fight. But obviously, Dylan White saying, "Oh, like the rumors are like, oh, it's not happening in the White fight." But now White's come on to Talk Sport and he said, like, look, I don't know if I want the fight. They need to offer me the right money, blah blah blah.
yeah.
And what do you make of that fight? Obviously, they fought back in 2015. I think, yeah. What do you think? Do you think that would be a good warm-up fight for AJ against Dylan White at the O2? Do you think that's a dangerous fight before a Wilder, or do you think that's what he needs? Does he need that to rile him up ahead of a Wilder fight? Does he need that beef? Does he need that
He
back and
he
forth with
needs
Wilder?
he needs it, man. Because he's so timid at the moment. He needs it back. He's lost that fire. He has actually lost the fire. You can see he's not there anymore.
Mm.
You know, I don't know what happened to him. Well, we actually know what happened to him. He just got knocked out, and then he couldn't come back from that. And I remember I told you at the time when some fighters, when they get knocked down and knocked out, psychologically it affects them so much they can't recover.
Yeah.
You know, and also the Usyk fight. I think he thought, okay, I brought my technicality up to scratch, but Usyk's technicality, the way that he fights, he's such a beautiful boxer to watch. You know, his hand movement, his distancing, everything. And AJ he did well. No, AJ did really well in that fight, but he wasn't Usyk's level, man. And I think that hit AJ. That's why at the end he had this meltdown, because he probably was just confused. He was
Yeah,
like, wait, that's the best I've ever fought. I had
hit him
everything,
hard.
my weight, my power, but I couldn't beat this guy. And that can destroy you, right? That's like in any industry. If you think you've achieved something and someone comes in and just squashes you, that can destroy you mentally.
Hit
So
him hard, man.
yeah, so he needs this win. He needs a win. So go fight White, destroy him, smash him up, and then go fight whoever else you want next, Wilder or whoever. But honestly, he needs these small fights again to get his confidence back, because he's still a good fighter. Yes, he's probably not on a Fury level, but he is a good fighter. He's definitely maybe on a Wilder level, but he hasn't got the power as Wilder.
Mm.
That
Do you,
one punch from Wilder could just floor him. To be fair,
yeah, that's the thing. We'll get onto the world. We'll get
Wilder's
onto
so
the
weird, man. Like this guy, like if he could actually box, he'd be so dangerous. But rather
this
than just
guy.
bloody just like literally just walk in like.
To be fair to him, he started boxing late. He only started
Yeah,
boxing to
he was a
save
he was a
his
basketball
daughter,
player,
who
you know.
she had an illness,
Yeah.
had a life-threatening illness. So he only started boxing
Oh,
to support her. If you didn't know that,
I
yeah.
didn't know that
So
actually. Fair enough, man.
yeah, look into it.
Jeez.
So it's a pretty good, pretty cool story that he's got this far. But back to AJ. But then, do you think it's too much of a? Do you think it's too much of a dangerous fight though? Because what if he gets sparked by White?
Bro, he's been sparked so many times now. Does it even matter if he gets sparked one more time?
But
Like,
has he though? He's only been knocked out once,
no,
and that was against Ruiz. But was he knocked out? He wasn't. He was on his feet. He was stopped. Okay, he
he was
probably in
stopped.
his head. He
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
didn't know where he was. But that's the thing. Okay, no, I wanna like have a bit of a not a debate with you, but just pick your brain. A lot of people like call Joshua chinny, and I'm and correct me if I'm wrong, but the energy I'm getting is you think he is as well. Like he's a bit chinny in terms of
No,
he's
I don't
not.
think he's like Amir Khan, Chinny.
No, not chinny to that extent, but as in he's
Yeah.
not got the best chin. But then, Mark, would you agree with that or no? Would you say he's got?
I think when it comes to heavyweight boxing, bro, like you can't say that. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, how can you say that? Like these guys weigh so much, right? It's just your body can only take so much force before you crumble.
But
Like
what I'm trying to say is though, a lot of people talk about Joshua like, oh, he's finished. At the end of the day, Fury's been on the floor more than
yeah,
Joshua. Okay, fair
yeah,
enough. Joshua hasn't fought Wilder yet. If he
yeah,
fights
yeah,
Wilder, he might be asleep.
yeah, yeah,
But what I'm trying to say is, he's fought Klitschko. Okay, yeah, he
yeah,
got dropped, but he's fought heavy. At the end of the day, like you're saying, at heavyweight boxing, you can get knocked out clean by any punch.
yeah. By anyone, yeah,
Ratman, Hassan
yeah.
Ratman. But Joshua's fought Ruiz. Okay, he got destroyed that fight in that first fight, but he didn't. He got dropped a few times, but he didn't get.
But like I said, I think he got destroyed because he went into that fight thinking
Underestimated him.
I could just
But
smash
Joshua's
this guy.
never he's never been knocked out unconscious.
No,
Obviously, that we'll see how he does against Wilder, but
no.
I think that's he's a bit underrated for
I
that.
think there's like loads of factors. Like one factor is that he probably got too big, so it killed his
Yeah.
stamina. And that doesn't help because when you're that big, it just eats up your energy levels, right? When you get to like the latter rounds, you're not going to be able to go toe to toe with people, especially.
Mm.
And maybe when he was that size, his aim should have really been to go in and go hard and destroy these people first 2 rounds, right? If that doesn't work, then as a boxer you're going to struggle because you just gas out,
We've seen
and
him gas out a lot of times.
yeah, and that's not because he's unfit or anything. That's just because he's carrying so much. He's a bodybuilder, bro. That people are right about that. He's just got too much muscle. But that Usyk fight is definitely the best I've seen in box.
Yeah,
You
when
know,
we watched it together, he
yeah,
was really
because I
good.
was shocked. I was like, his head movement was on point. His footwork. He was getting close. He was
Do you
going.
think he just
He just didn't.
he,
Usyk's just a little bit better.
he wasn't letting the
Yeah,
combinations go,
yeah.
was
He
he?
wasn't flowing. Yeah, yeah.
He
And
just needed to do
Usyk,
a little bit
yeah,
more.
Usyk was just yeah. But that's why you have to credit to Usyk, right? Because Usyk is just. I think Usyk is an amazing boxer, so that's why you want to see
Arguably the
the.
pound for pound best in the
Yeah,
world right now.
yeah. Ridiculous. And honestly, I love him. Like he's got that gap in the teeth. He's funny to look at. Weird hairstyles. He's just a lovely character. Ukraine as well with the war and stuff. He's got that whole backstory. So yeah, I think that's why like he's quite a cool boxer. So
But
But
with
yeah, AJ, I don't know,
AJ,
man.
let's
AJ's
see.
done well. He's not gonna cry. He's got all the money in the world. It's just he never had that boxing legacy, probably that he wanted. He probably was looking at Ali and wanted to emulate that, but he just couldn't. He could barely like tie Ali's shoes, you know. Like he's just not at
Mm.
that level. So
I mean, look, like, I think the best thing for him to do now is fight White in August. Hopefully, get a dominant performance in. That's a confident booster. Get that brash,
get your persona back. Yeah.
get the persona back. Get the
Yeah.
combinations going, and have an emphatic performance against Dillian White. And then look, Venice for the big one. AJ Wilder,
Mm,
Saudi
mm.
Arabia, December.
That's true. Yeah, AJ Wilder. That would be a good fight, though. That'd be. I would love to go to that fight. Jesus, imagine
Jesus Christ.
prices.
Saudi. Who you got winning that then?
Okay, it's gonna go two ways. Bets, yeah. Wilder round 3. Okay. AJ round 8. One of them.
That makes sense because Wilder early knockout or Joshua. But I don't know if Joshua can last 8 rounds without getting, because the thing is what I just don't. This is even with Usyk. With Usyk,
You're right, because that Wilder punch, even though you know it's coming, you can't stop it.
no, but like if he throws it to a couple times each round, you're telling me he can't land with that. And Joshua
But
hasn't got great head
yeah,
movement
no. And also, Fury said it. Fury said even when Wilder was hitting his body, he felt his whole body just like
and
go
gloves.
numb. Yeah, he
Mm-hmm.
said he's
No,
never felt. He's never. Yeah, he said he's never felt pain like that. So imagine, because that's the thing with Wilder. If that guy could jab, right, and just get
yeah.
enough power, he could give you like dead arms. He could just like hurt your organs, like your
His
kidney,
jab's not
stuff like
bad,
this.
but obviously
Yeah,
he can. He could improve it. I mean, his jab's decent, but I know what you mean.
yeah.
He can use his,
He's a bit obvious. That's all. But he's
yeah.
also very awkward, which makes it quite difficult because he's so lanky, right? Like he's hench but lanky at the same time.
I think he knocks Joshua out inside 5 rounds, man. Because I just think, and I
Uh,
like Joshua, but I went to his last fight, obviously, but I just don't see how he can avoid that right hand. Like I just can't, like how, like if he can
uh,
eat that right, come on, he cannot.
yeah, because if Wilder's got a chin, so we know if he goes like 8-9 rounds with Joshua, he might even take him out in the latter round. You know, when Joshua's tired.
But then don't forget, Wilder gets tired as well. That's why it's
Yeah, that's
probably a
true.
6 round fight.
Yeah,
It's really
I
a six
can't.
round
Yeah,
fight. It's probably
that's why
whoever
I can't
knocks
see.
each other out
I
first.
can't see it going more than 6 rounds. Yeah, you're right.
But the thing is,
Yeah.
that's the problem is with AJ. You'd say whoever knocks who out first, but then if he wants to do that, which that is the smart thing to do. No point trying to outbox Wilder for 12 rounds because you're eventually going to get hit. Like we saw
Mm.
in the Fury first fight, he was perfect more or less, but then the 2 rounds he got dropped, and then in 12 he almost lost it all. But then
Like the what
Joshua,
if thing that you're doing on Twitter, yeah. So imagine if Fury actually lost that fight. Jesus.
and he didn't get up. Well, where would we be today?
Uh, uh,
But I think Joshua gets knocked out, man. That's why I'm surprised he's going that direction with the Wilder fight. But I guess maybe they just know that that's a huge money fight, and it's probably easier
yeah.
to make than the Fury fight because Fury is just hard to deal with.
Fury's being a bloody stupid man.
It's
Like,
just so hard to deal with. But that's that. Obviously, we spoke about Canelo, we spoke about Joshua, we spoke about Fury. But there's one more thing I want to talk about: Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. I know you was gonna go to that fight in the O2 last year, but then it got cancelled. But look, Conor Benn, man, I don't know how much you've been tracking of him lately, but obviously a lot of people are mixed. Look, for me, it's simple. He failed 2 drug tests.
yeah, that's
Not
bad.
one. He failed 2 drug tests,
That's
and he
bad.
hasn't got a license. He should be banned. But obviously Eddie's doing what he needs to do. Connor's doing what he needs to do. He's not going to say, "All right,
Yeah,
no, I failed the drug test. I'm
yeah.
not going to fight." They want to fight, and Eubank wants a big fight as well. Eubank's just been knocked out by Liam Smith, so
Yeah. Wait, let me just let Blue out 1 second.
yeah, right, sweet. What I was saying, guys, is look, I've just seen it now on Twitter. There's reports saying that Conor Benn and Eubank could happen. If it does happen in the UK, it could happen in a stadium. That's all well and good. Look, I'll watch it. It'll be huge. People around the world. I was talking to people in America on Twitter, in the Twitter space. They know Conor Benn. They'll be interested in him. But should it be happening? He hasn't got a license. Yeah, Don, I was just saying to people watching, should he? It's all well and good. Yeah, it could happen in Tottenham Stadium, 60,000, or Wembley, 80,000, 90,000. But at the end of the day, should he even be fighting? He's failed 2 drug tests. I don't think he's got a British boxing license. Obviously, behind the scenes, we might be trying to look at that. But I don't know. What do you make of the whole thing?
I think we're
Trying to make
feeling
it in Abu Dhabi, but obviously they probably know they're probably trying to push for UK because I know in the UK it will sell well. The dads, the history, two British fighters, all the British fans will watch it.
But yeah, Conor, like him failing 2 drug tests, that's bad. That's really bad. Failing one, you could say maybe something went wrong. But do we even know what he failed on, or?
It's like apparently it was a woman's fertility drug.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, I remember reading this. Yeah. We were speaking about this earlier. Remember? I think a few weeks ago. Yeah.
So I don't know, man. For me, look, that's just boxing for you. But I guess what do you make of the fight? It's going to be at 160, so EUBANK's weight. Obviously, Conor Benn's coming up from 147.
But what's going on with EUBANK now? Because even his dad is like saying he's disappointed in him because he's not training as hard and stuff like this. Like he's not putting the effort in like he used to.
But then there's been talks about him being like that the whole time. Hence his development. He didn't reach a potential.
You know what? He's actually a fight I'm disappointed in as well. To be fair. Because I think he's not ever like when he first burst onto the scene. I always thought he would, he'll end up being such a good fighter to watch and stuff. But I think he's also never really. Every time I watched him, he's never really impressed me massively.
Yeah.
It's almost like he switches off.
But then, what do you expect more of him? What do you expect more from him?
I don't know, man. Like the commitment, maybe, or even like the belief in himself. He seems to lack it. Or am I wrong?
I don't know. I think he's very confident, borderline deluded at times.
Yeah, not confident, but I mean, like, I don't know, like the commitment in boxing. Do you think he's committed enough, like, actually at the sport? Because it's hard. Maybe it's hard for him because obviously he lost like his brother and stuff, right? So, and with his dad, like his dad obviously had a massive mental breakdown, losing his son, which is sad, of course. So I think that probably disrupted his career a bit, somewhat. But in terms of him as a boxer, I just thought he would achieve more.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Obviously, he's not really world level, or he's maybe fringe world level, but he's never when he.
Because how old is he now?
I think he's 33. Every time he steps up, at the end of the day, every time he steps up, he's lost. He lost to Liam Smith. He stepped up to fight George Groves. He lost.
Because bro, the media were like bigging him up like 10 years ago. The media were saying like, oh, he's one to watch and everything like that. And now you're telling me he's 33, and I'm like, Jesus, man, like where did your career go?
Chris Eubank's one thing, but the Conor Benn and Chris Eubank fight is interesting. Look, it's clearly going to sell.
Of course, that's an interesting fight. Yeah,
it's an interesting fight. Look, imagine that though at Wembley Stadium or.
Yeah, that's a big fight. We haven't had a fight like that in a while, to be fair.
But 80,000, would it sell out? Would it pack? I don't know if it could sell out 80,000. I think it probably would because they'd probably promote the fuck out of it. And then, I don't know. We'll see in it. I think let's see what happens. But I'd watch it. I think it's an interesting fight. But I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Let's just see what happens with it.
But do you like him as a fighter? Who do you prefer out of the two?
I prefer Chris Eubank Jr., but obviously he's just not that great, is he? Like every time he stepped up, he's been disappointing. So I like Chris Eubank Jr. more. Conor Benn, I just think he's a bit arrogant.
After all the cheating and stuff, yeah, it's kind of.
I just think he's cheating and everything. I'm not sure how good he really is. I think he needs to test himself more. It's all well and good going up 2 weight divisions to fight Chris Eubank Jr., but at the end of the day, you're a 147-pound welterweight. You're a welterweight. Challenge yourself against, step up to fight European level, fight someone in the top 10 in the welterweight. Let's see how good you really are. And we don't really know that because he's fought old fighters. Okay, he's dealt with them decisively, but he hasn't had that kind of middle fights. I was speaking to a few people in the boxing space. They were saying the same thing. About 18 months ago, he could have went for the David Evanesian fight for the European title to kind of test himself, but he didn't want to take the risk. And they were saying he could have beat Evanesian. Here's Michael McKinson, who fought Virgil Ortiz. He's from the UK as well, welterweight. He hasn't fought him. How do we know how good he really is? Yeah, he's looked good. He's got power. He's been knocking people out. And don't get me wrong, he's been good the way he's been building himself, because he's been fighting. Conor Benn's been fighting fighters who the other top guys have been fighting. Oh, I just saw my blue ticks. Have I got my blue tick? Let me check. But yeah, Conor Benn's been fighting fighters who the other top dogs have fought, and he's dealt with them better and more convincingly. So obviously that makes him look good. But at the end of the day, we need to see him tested, and that's what I'm not sure how good he really is. So I don't know. Let's see. I think he probably does knock out Chris Eubank Jr., especially after that fight. I'm not sure how much Chris Eubank Jr.'s got left. Obviously, David Haye, Chris Eubank, his dad was saying he don't really train hard. So I don't know.
I'm seeing that.
But guys, I think that's it for today. Let us know what you think. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We need to see engagement. We need to see comment. We need to see interacting, guys. Yeah.
Need to make comments, guys, because how can we respond? But
look, this is our first one. It's going to improve. We're going to be, doing this every Friday. Remember the name. Look, Beyond the Ropes, the Cam and Don podcast. We're here to stay, guys. But Don, let's shout out to your channel. Go and do
Don and Coco, the tech adventures, anime adventures, the movie adventures, and the gaming adventures. You can find all my links and stuff below.
I'll put them below.
Cheers for watching, guys. Every Friday we talk boxing, so join us, and comment below, because we want to interact. This needs to be a conversation, a community, not just me and Cameron talking for 10 years. So. Because we do that anyway, so.
And then slowly we'll start doing it live.
Yeah.
We'll once we get a bit of an audience, we'll start doing it live. You guys can
we can do live streams. We can watch boxing, whatever.
Watching boxing. So look, both of us, obviously, it's almost a year since I've started my channel. Don's been doing it for about 10 to 11 months as well. Obviously, he's got multiple channels now, so he's just growing as well. But we're both big boxing fans. And guys, this will be going out every Friday between 9 and 10 p.m. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you tune in. And
if this hits like 1,000 views, we'll get you a gift. Yeah.
You can buy it up for them. But guys, we're out. We'll be back on another. I'll be back.
See you later. Peace.
Name.